the key to growing and being your best self is to heal from the things that are holding you back. And we know, economically speaking, that the Black community, we've got a lot of things. We got a lot of things to be excited about, a lot of things to be proud of, a lot of accomplishments we're making. But we also have a lot of areas where, there needs to be a little work done, right? There's got to be a little bit of a push to help us to just say, okay, let's leave the nonsense behind and get to the dollars and cents. And let's leave behind let's leave behind the little stuff so we can get to the big stuff. Big things popping, little things stopping. And I really think that's where we want to go as a community. And in fact, it just makes me think about this person, this young lady that I mentor, and I had to be honest with her and tell her, I said, it's really interesting to me because you ask me to help you solve problems and you ask for opportunities. But every time I open a door for you, you find some subconscious way to shut the door. You tend to show up with excuses and not results. And I'm not so concerned about me. I mean, I'm care about you regardless. I'm really more concerned about you. I think that you self-sabotage and you don't even realize you self-sabotage. You don't want to grow. Tell me if you know what I'm saying. There are people who don't want to evolve. There are people, they say they do, right? Everybody, if you say, do you want to do better? Yeah, of course I do. I don't think most people do. I really don't. And I think that, and I'm not just talking about, about her or those people. I'm talking about me and you. All of us have that. All of us have this like default state that we exist in, and we say like, yeah, I want to be like that. But when it comes time to become like that, or the opportunity emerges for us to be like that, we make some reason why we can't do it right now, or maybe we have some sort of barrier that we're not even acknowledging, right? Something that I think it's like and I'm share I want to share some of this as we wait for my wife to come in, but it's almost like a comfort zone. Like we have, thank you, Pamela. Pamela's complimenting me on my sweater. Don't be flirting today, Pamela. My wife is gonna be here. She gonna come get you. But anyway, I'm kidding, Pamela. I love you too. So the thing is that we all have this like comfort zone that we operate in, and it's almost like that toxic relationship that feels familiar. So even though you claim that you want to move on to bigger and better things, you end up going back and you're sleeping with the same person that you know you shouldn't be sleeping with anyway. But you're comfortable there. You kind of know what to expect. And I think our lives are the same way. I think that we get a comfort zone in our own lives. I think that we may not like it. We may complain about it. It may stress us out. It may leave us wanting more and having lots of regrets, but it's comfortable and it's familiar and we stick with what we know, right? And so a lot of times, so I think I saw a saying that said that your success lies right beyond your comfort zone. Everything you want in life is right outside of your comfort zone. And sometimes this is where accountability partners can be helpful. Like if you're trying to build your wealth or your health or improve in some way, having somebody that's going to pull you out of your comfort zone can really go a long way. And I encourage you to do that. So anyway, I'm going to stop yapping about that and just acknowledge the queen that just came in the room. Her mic is muted, so she's going to unmute it and talk to us. Today, I'd like to introduce my lovely wife. In case you don't know her, her name is Dr. Alicia Watkins. Now, just because I always got to give the props to the Black women that are just doing the damn thing, my wife is, she's not just an amazingly gorgeous human being. She's also a full professor of social work, and she's been a licensed therapist for over 20 years. And she is the only faculty member in the history of her campus to ever win a Fulbright fellowship. That's how much of a badass she is. And just another little thing, just so y'all know that in the Black Business School, you're getting the best of the best. You're getting the elites. You're not getting anything that's mediocre or sub-mediocre. She also, one thing you should know is that there's different calibers to PhDs, right? There are people that get the honorary degree or do the little baby programs, and there are people that go through hell. And my wife went through hell to get her doctorate. I did too. She actually out of five, I think five students that were Black that started her program, she's the only one that survived. She was the only survivor. And then on top of that, most PhDs never become full professors. So so it's almost like the difference between getting to the MBA, which is really, really hard, versus being an NBA All-Star. So I just say that because I think it's important that when we love people. We acknowledge their greatness, and I encourage all the men out here. When you got a badass wife, you go tell everybody how great she is. That don't take nothing away from you, and we got to celebrate our women's accomplishments. So anyway, enough of my yapping. How you doing today, babe?
Doing well, and yeah, I mean everything you said was spot on, but I never think about it. I just put my head down and do the work, and it's nice to kind of put my head up a little bit and listen to what you're saying and digest all that we've been through. Me and you have been
Mhm.
through trying to make it in this world with $1.15, you know what it's like, and you think you're not making progress, but it's important to stop and think about where you have been and where you've come from and the progress that you've made. I think that's so important. Thank you, Boyce.
Yeah, yeah, it's a battle, right? I think it's a challenge for everybody, and I know that there are lots of couples in here, like the Green family and stuff like that are just doing amazing things too. And I just want to acknowledge all of you because Black love is a revolutionary act. It's to some extent it's a threat to oppression, in my opinion. Uh,
Ah,
and I think that African American men and African American women who choose to partner together to truly advocate for our community instead of trying to become somebody else, I think that that means a lot. Like, so it means a lot to me that my Black wife wants to be a Black woman and wants to be married to a Black man and wants to go and help build the Black community. That means a lot because she could have been Meghan Markle and went off and married Prince Harry, right? So she could have said, hey, that Black stuff, that pro-Black stuff, I stay away from that, right? She could have, or I'm not gonna marry a Black man that's gonna get me in trouble, or whatever. But she didn't do that. So shout out to all the Black women who really hold it down for us, and y'all been holding it down since slavery. And shout out to the men who are out there holding it down as well. I think that everybody deserves credit when credit's due. So anyway, babe, let's jump into your. Let's just start with your big announcement. I'm excited about what you're doing. I don't know of any other place that has done this before. I consider this to be Black history, and the Black Business School is making Black history. And you wanted to do an original research project that's going to be sent to a peer-reviewed academic journal on Black financial psychology, if I'm not mistaken. And you want to do it like right here in the center, in the mecca of Black wealth, the Black Business School. Can you kind of talk about what your goal is and how others in here might want to be involved, please?
yeah, so part of my research that I have begun doing is an accumulation of conversations that I've had with you about the effect of oppression. Very interesting that you talk about Black love as being the threat to oppression. Well, what does that entail? That entails understanding exactly how oppression has affected you. It's not being ruled by being oppressed, but it's having an understanding about what are the remnants of somebody who's been oppressed. And one of the ways in which oppression has its toll on us as Black people is in on our mentality and how we spend our money and how we look at ourselves. And so that's what this research project is doing, is looking at how does financial trauma, anxiety, and past history of abuse. Remember, oppression and trauma is intergenerational, it's historical, and it's racial. And these are all of the things that make us as Black people unique in this country. We have been oppressed. That doesn't mean that we need to use our past experiences as an excuse for why we aren't achieving what we want to achieve, but we want to be able to deconstruct everything so that we can understand our thinking process, our $1 trillion spending power. Are we investing that money or are we spending it as consumers? When we have a lot of money in our checking account, are we still scared and worried that something's going to happen and it's going to be wiped away? How are our thoughts impacting how we treat income? What are some of the thoughts and ideas that we have on money? So I am looking at our relationship with money and how it could be influenced by our past experiences and how it can also set the tone for how we approach investing and entrepreneurship and income and all of that is what I'm trying to look at. And when I was going through past research studies, I haven't seen any article that specifically looked at financial trauma, self-efficacy, the belief that you can overcome financial obstacles. No one's ever looked at that in this particular way. They've always looked at finances as a barrier for Black people. But we never ever look at how past experiences influence how you feel in your relationship with money. And that's what I'm doing with this study.
Mm. So, and that speaks to why certain problems don't get solved. It's
Mhm.
because you have some problems that people just don't research, they don't study.
Mhm.
When I was in academia at Syracuse University, I became very frustrated because I said, here I am sitting here working with a bunch of people that don't look like me, writing a bunch of research papers that are going to rot away in dusty academic journals that have nothing to do with the people that I care about the most. And when I would come to them and I'd say, hey, I want to do this work in the Black community, I want to do this thing to solve this important Black problem, it wasn't interesting. It was like, no, that you're not gonna get any credit on your job for this. You can do it on your own, but it's not going to help you get tenure. It's not going to do any of that. So a lot of the universities sort of swipe over and ignore the Black community, and I think that your research is important on this because we got to dig to the core of what the issue is. We got to figure out, okay, what's happening in the lives of millions of Black people that's causing these psychological barriers to building wealth, right? What happened to you when you were little that affected your confidence and even in your belief, your self-belief that you can even do it, right? I find confidence is so low sometimes. Have you noticed that as well?
Yes, and the confidence is low. However, some of the things that you're doing, actually all of the things that we are doing, and you in particular, Boyce, for many, many years, is you've built up people's confidence. So that to me is what researchers call a moderating variable. So I'm thinking that your relationship with money and your history of oppression is moderated by some of the things that Boyce is doing. Some of the things that you're doing, Boyce, moderates your relationship with money. How many courses have you taken in the Black Business School? How long have you been affiliated with the Black Business School? How many courses have you taken in terms of your raising your awareness of financial um, literacy, so to speak? How has that been a disruptor of oppression? When you know
Mm,
better, you do better. Is this going to be
mm.
the case?
You know what's interesting? Sorry, my back's itching. You know what's interesting is it's really hard to oppress confident people. Right? Right? I mean, it's that simple, right? The whole crux of the Haitian Revolution was built on this mistake somebody made where they exposed, the leadership to ideas that they did not want the slaves to even know about. Right. So when they find out, he goes and he reads about the French Revolution and all these ideas about liberty and freedom. He's like, hold on, wait a minute. I'm supposed to have a piece of that. And next thing you know, th this confidence, which is driven by additional information and knowledge, leads them to say, we're going to fight back against this. Frederick Douglass, same thing, very confident man. So it was really difficult to oppress and control Frederick Douglass, right? So if you the way I almost think about it is like if I have even it's weird of an analogy as this might be. I even think about the movie Planet of the Apes. Not that we are apes. People probably may look at us
Oh,
like this, but we're not apes. But Planet of the Apes was all that was like it was like this experiment. Like what happens if you got the strongest, beings in the space that are in cages and suddenly they become as smart as you and they gain confidence from their intelligence and their consciousness and their ability to observe and understand their environment. Oh, they gonna break out that cage and whoop your ass, right? Like that's
you can't tell me Planet of the Apes is a chronicle of Black people. You cannot tell me that at all. When I watched that movie, we watched it in the movie theater. Boy, when
yeah.
that ape came and rose up and was fighting against, it was us. not that we're apes. I think that's a
Right.
little
Right. Just
bizarre. But how
comparing
could
us
you
to
not think
monkeys.
about us, Planet of the Apes? Yes.
Yeah.
Woo!
You had the little leader, Caesar, and then you had the big, strong gorillas who were like, okay, I got Caesar's back. And next thing you know, it became a whole different story. And the apes eventually dominated. And in a way, not again, never to compare us to apes and literally, but
That's nasty
I
Hollywood doing
right, but right. I know that's Hollywood, right? But I think of it like B1 people, those who are black first, those who love themselves, who are confident enough to love themselves, who are also knowledgeable, right? Every day when we're talking about financial stuff, I say, okay, how do we introduce ourselves to cutting edge economic ideas? And then more importantly, how do we make sure our children get those ideas 20 years before everybody else's children? Oh, that to me is a formula for domination. It just at that point requires confidence and execution, and right? You throw in some discipline, you won't be stopped. Like you will be known. I believe in 50 to 100 years, a segment of our community will be known for their economic power, intelligence, execution, and things like that, because because this is what's being created right now. Let me ask you this. Okay, so I want to share something with you, babe. By the way, everybody, this is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and she's discussing her really awesome original research paper that she's going to write on. I want to say it's on Black financial psychology, but it's deeper than that, and she can explain in more detail. But let me ask you this. I want to give you a stat related to financial stress and mental health, and I want to get your opinion on this. It says here, according to BetterHelp, that 42% of US adults report that money negatively affects their mental health, leading to issues such as anxiety, depression, and anger. And how many of you have felt that way? How many of you feel that money problems can add to anxiety, depression, and anger? How many of you feel like that's almost like a no-brainer? And then it says here also that individuals with debt are 3 times more likely to contemplate taking their own lives
hmm
compared to those without financial challenges. And this is what frightens me about like this whole emergence of sports betting. I feel like that's going to lead to some people losing their lives. Unfortunately, it's very sad. And I know, and actually, just to one other little thing that I could have bragged on my wife about is that she actually did that Fulbright in Guyana because she was there to study why Guyana has that high rate of people taking their own lives. Ever since the Jim Jones Kool-Aid incident in the 70s, they've had that issue. And so she's actually known for that. But anyway, can you speak to some of those stats I just shared in terms of the anxiety, depression, was it anxiety, depression, and anger connection with financial distress?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the knowledge of every single month. You got bills due every month. And if people who are living paycheck to paycheck, which is many of us, it becomes a continuous stressor in families. And just think of something unexpected happens. Oh my goodness, if you got to get new brakes on your car, or Johnny falls at school and you got to go take time off of work so that you can take care of your children. If you're just overloaded and stressed out about not having enough money to make your, I was looking at taxes, not having enough money to pay your bills at the end of the month, feeling tired and worn out because you're stressed out. Who can stop and take money and invest money when you're living day to day? And so some of these real struggles can definitely cause a lot of stress and depression and anxiety. You just feel stuck like a, a bird that's caged up.
Mm,
And for many of us, even if we work hard and get out of that, we still have reminiscence of that in our current life. Maybe we do, we're not living paycheck to paycheck. We actually do have enough money to invest, but you're holding on to it and you're scared of letting go because you remember what life was like back then. So it is all of the remnants of even past experiences that has to do with not having enough. And
mm,
who do you compare yourself to? You live in such a consumer world where, if I'm sad and depressed, I'm going to spend money right now on buying retail therapy for many of us. I'm going to spend money right now so that I can feel better. but it's a short-term relief because guess what? At the end of the month, that credit card bill is coming. You're gonna have
Mm,
to pay it. And the interest rates and the fees. I mean, we can talk about macro level things too. We could talk about how policies can affect us as well. Just oh my gosh, how credit card companies, go after individuals, how we really need elected officials who we just vote and, give our trust to really look out for us as individuals. And of course, that lack of trust in our government officials has been eroding away for many, many years now. So, I mean, it's a whole lot. And at the end of it all, even with COVID, and right now we're in uneasy financial times. We don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next in terms of our economy. All of that definitely takes a toll on our mental health. How could it not?
absolutely. And and yeah, I mean, even when you look at, what is it, hundreds of thousands of jobs in the government have been eliminated, right? And
Or
these,
threatened to be eliminated. Can you imagine just the thought? I don't know if I wake up one morning and I can't pay my bills.
mm.
Maybe that's why people are not shopping at Target. They wasn't gonna shop at Target anyway, because why go to Target and spend way too much? I know when I go to Target, I spend too much money there. I'm not even gonna put myself in a store like that. I'm sitting here trying to make sure I can get by every single day.
Yeah, I get it. And by the way, one thing that we didn't mention yet is that when Dr. Alicia does the study, she would actually want to invite any of you to fill out the survey
Oh,
uh, for the study.
do you
And
have the link?
I do have the link, and
Put the link.
what I'll do is I'm going to text it out to everybody. Make sure you're on the text list. If you want to fill out the survey form and submit data to Dr. Alicia's study, make sure you're on the text list. All you have to do is text the word morning to the phone number 87948. So text morning to 87948, and I'll send that out later on this afternoon. And that way, she'll have plenty of data. In case y'all don't know, data is like gold for academic researchers, and so would we take survey participants from Canada? Yes, you can be in any country in the world, and the beautiful thing about this that I'm excited about is that we were able to, we're able to gather, thousands and thousands of our people together to be able to do this research, right? To be able to understand like what's really going on, like how do we fix this? And I think that shouldn't be understated, right? Because if she was sitting up at Yale University somewhere, she'd have to go and find black people. Well, we got black people. We have 200,000 students in the Black Business School now, which I think makes us one of the greatest HBCUs ever, not just because of the size, but also because we keep the costs low. And on top of that, we are one of the first institutions that is very clear about cutting to the chase and saying, let's stop training ourselves to work for other people. We've got to do the things that build wealth. That is owning the real estate. We've got to own the stocks. We're going to start the businesses. We're going to train the babies, right? And we're going to also work with therapists to integrate, to really optimize, create a premium, optimal, elite mindset as it pertains to wealth, right? I want you to be elite in your thinking. Elite meaning not that you're better than anybody else, but that you understand ain't nobody better than you. And you have a type of excellence, like true exceptionalism, that is embodied in the way you go about building your family. Exceptionalism in the way you go about planning your life. Exceptionalism when you go about putting together your relationships. So all these things, therapy is a big part of all these things. And in fact, actually, I want to ask you a question, babe, and you can feel free to address any of that as well. You and I had that when at the convention. Kanye West called out of the blue, the 2022 All Black National Convention, and I bring up Kanye because he's in the news right now. He's really struggling. And I remember when I was sitting on the phone with him, he called a bunch of times, and we were talking for a while. And at that time, he was literally probably the most talked about person on the planet. And he
Mhm.
even said that to me. I think he said something like, I'm the most
It was
important person.
true.
Well, I think he said something like, I'm the most important person in the world next to Vladimir Putin and shit. That's how he said
No,
it.
he said
And
he
I
was
was,
the most trending person.
or something. Oh, is that what he said?
He said he was the most trending
Okay, then
person.
I got it wrong.
He
Yeah.
didn't say the most important voice. See,
Well,
this is why you
I
need
thought he
another
said
person.
important, but maybe okay. Either way,
He
either way.
said trending, and he
But
was
here's the
right.
part. But here's the part that bothered me though, was that I'm sitting there, I'm talking to him, and you're sitting there, and you're a therapist, and you saw all these ways that he could be helped, but he's not a person that receives that, right? Which is such a wasted opportunity. And I'm not making fun of Kanye. I'm saying that to me is kind of a microcosm of what a limited mindset can do to you. I see so many people where, look, if you just get a little help and get yourself focused, get your mind right, you can elevate, you can do amazing things. And it was a frustrating conversation. Eventually I didn't want to have it anymore because it's like, well, if you're not gonna try to evolve, then what are we doing here? So I
Mhm.
mean, I'd love to get your thoughts about that.
Yeah, he's resistant. He was resistant to looking at himself and growing. And that right there is the demarcation between somebody who is ready to be in a relationship, friendship, romantic relationship, or not in a relationship. If you want to know, everybody out there dating or people who are in a relationship and you're contemplating whether you should stay or leave, the question you need to ask yourself, is this person willing to work on self-improvement and growth? And if they are not in any level, that is not the kind of person that needs to be in a relationship with anybody, and definitely not with you. You have to be in a position where you're able to look at yourself, how you contribute to whatever issue that's going on in your relationship, and how you can reflect on that, have some self-awareness and some self-insight, and be able to talk about that. It is not about being perfect. It is not about getting everything correct. It is your ability to stop and think and reflect and look at yourself, because your relationship is a mirror of all the things happening inside of you. What it makes you upset, what doesn't make you upset is all a reflection of you. And people who refuse to look at themselves should not even be, just be by yourself, be alone,
Mm.
because you're going to wreak havoc on whoever decides to feel sorry for you and take you in as a partner.
Mm, that's so interesting. It's funny. I was talking to our youngest, Taylor, about that yesterday, actually, because I was giving her a credit for the number of I want to say spins, but it's not spins.
It's
It's
turns,
turns.
turns.
That's the proper dance term. I keep saying spins, and I'm just messing it up.
Can't be
But
a
she did,
dance dad and get that
yeah, yeah,
wrong.
right. But she did the little spin on the turn,
Turns,
the turn on TikTok, and she kept just twirling, and it was the first time she'd done that
turning.
many turns, and I was, and I was like, "Good job, that was amazing! Oh my God, how did you do? How did you learn to do that?" And one of the things I remember her saying was she talked about things that she was good at and things she's not good at, and what I said to her is I said, "Never forget that." Whatever you are is not nearly as important as what you're becoming. You're
Yeah.
always becoming something. You're always becoming something. And so that awareness, sort of saying, okay, this is where I am, but I'm an evolving being. I'm not supposed to be like the person I am right now. I'm not supposed to be that person 3 years from now. You're not
Mhm.
supposed to be. And if you
Mhm.
are, that's a problem. That means you're
Mhm.
stagnant. Like,
Stagnant.
like think about anything else, any fruit or any food in your refrigerator that's stagnant and stale and sitting there and whatever, or a vegetable that's not growing is stagnant. Like that's something's dying there. There's death there in stagnation. Life and growth comes from evolution. You understand? So evolution, I think, should have intentionality with it. It should have a commitment. You should be fierce about that. Like really down, 10 toes down on that. Like I'm evolving. God is not through with me yet. Like I ain't perfect. I am flawed, but I'm working on it and I'm getting better every day. And that is what defines me. What defines me is not what I am. What defines me is what I am working to become. That is everything. That is so
Mhm.
every. I mean, even mathematically, it's like the position of an object is not as important as its derivative, right? And what I mean by that is that a car, where a car is located, doesn't matter as much as where the car is going and how fast it's going there. So you are a moving car. That's my point, right? So in therapy, to me, helps your car move faster. It helps you target where you want your car to go. And the beauty of that, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I'm
Yeah.
talking too much, is that once you gain that superpower of saying, look, I'm not only am I going to decide where I'm going to be, but I'm going to decide how quickly I'm going to get there because I've got all the tools required to reshape this thing called my mind. You become almost unstoppable. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and not only that, but you need to get to know the car. Where's the
Mm,
carburetor? When does the
mm.
oil need to be changed?
Yes.
What is going on with the engine? Do the tires need to be replaced? You need to look at the conditions outside of the car. Is it snowing? Is it raining? Is it ice? Should you stop for a little bit? And if you get into an accident, are you just going to point the finger and say it was all y'all fault that my car is damaged? Are you going to take some responsibility for the accident, for the collision?
Some people just go through life doing hit and runs.
Runs.
Driving with no insurance, going
No,
100 miles
sure.
an hour with a blindfold, you drunk and high and ramming into people and running over children and just
Like bumper cars.
yeah, just I mean, but you got people that live life that way, just
And then
traumatizing people.
blame it on the road conditions. It's modern society. These modern women, these alpha men, these toxic masculinity, all this other stuff. You want to look at everybody else and not you.
Mm. Well, that's a word, ma'am. That's a word. I want to mention really quick before I forget. Some of y'all asked about it. Don't forget that first of all, number one, if you're a member of Coin, which is the Certified Options Income Network, we're gonna meet tonight. Tonight is the next class. We're doing this 12 straight weeks of stock options. So if you all want to learn stock options and get a certification from the Black Business School, you can apply. Go to drboycecoin.com. We have the next cohort, though, will be in a couple of months, but you can apply for that now at drboycecoin.com, COIN. Number two, our financial slumber party is going to be Friday night at 11 o'clock. And we're going to get together at 11 on a Zoom and just act stupid and wear your pajamas, bring your popcorn. We're going to play music, have fun, but then we're going to learn finance because I want you to have financial fun. I don't want you to just think of making money and building wealth as something that has to be serious all the time. If you've been to our financial slumber parties, are always fun. Also, it's a training, right? The training materials are free, and the cost of entry is $69, and you get to keep that training for life. That is yours and your family. You can bring your whole family for the cost of one person. So feel free to join us there. I'll text out the link later. Make sure you're on the text list. Text the word morning to the number 87948 on your phone. Text morning to 87948, and I'll send you the link. And those of you who've been to our financial slumber parties know how much fun they are. But you're going to learn. Like this one, the theme of this one is called How to Make Money on Monday. And what I'm going to do is go through a couple of stock options plays that you can literally apply on Monday that can generate money on Monday. I could literally show you how to do this. So you just have to have a little bit to invest to be able to buy some stock, but I can show you how to do that. So anyway, you've been to our financial slumber parties, right, babe?
I
Have
feel
you?
like I've been to them. I've been to many and over the years.
Yeah, I think they're fun. I always wake up with a hangover the next day.
Do you?
Yeah, you get over 50, staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna be tired the next day. But it's all right though. It's worth it though. I always wake up with a smile on my face. So let's and I'll send the link out to you guys later on via text. If you aren't in the country and you can't text the word morning to the number 87948, just go to drboyceelevate.com. And once you sign up at drboyceelevate.com, you'll get the email. I'll also email this out a little bit later on today. So let's talk about just generally healing and sort of what you've been doing there. Now, one thing I want to throw out to you is a couple more facts and just piece of information from some research that I did here. One thing that isn't discussed much as well is the physical effect of financial stress. Actually, there are studies that show that unemployment, and financial strain are also associated with higher rates of cardiovascular diseases, somatization. I don't know what that is exactly,
I
but
know what that is.
oh, you can please explain,
Okay.
and other health related issues. Can you speak to that in terms of that mind body connection and how
Hmm.
know, being able to create financial peace in your life and in the lives of your children actually helps people live longer, please.
Yeah, it's the effects of stress. A lot of people will have like ringing in their ears, somatization,
Yep.
headaches, stomach aches, and there's no medical cause for any of those things.
Yeah.
And that's a somatic, it could be considered a somatic response to how we deal with stress and worry in our life. So it is there. And, it doesn't, it, it doesn't work to help the situation at all. When you are confronted with a hard issue that could be painful for you, how you respond to that has a big effect on the results of that. So how you deal with stress. Do you have a self-care plan? Does it interrupt your sleep? Are you putting yourself and your health and your mental health and physical health first? It Having that together is like armor against the stress. And let me tell you, stressors and problems will always happen. We agreed on this when we were sentient beings who have decided to be born. You're agreeing to have hard times will always happen to you. But if you have a safe place of which to process what's going on with you, if you have a good self-care mechanism, and it doesn't cost a lot to have self-care. It doesn't cost anything to just close your eyes and meditate. No one's taking anything from you to do that. So when you have good armor to protect you, you'll be able to deal with life's challenges. And when you get depleted and you haven't slept because you're up stressing about whatever is going on in your life, then you're sleepy and stressed, which makes you deal with that sort of differently. So it's accumulation. It's called actually someone modeled this. It's called the double stress model, but I won't get into that. But the double stress model is how it accumulates stress, and people look at that in terms of families who have accumulation of stress. But all of that takes its toll, and it's interesting because I work with my Healing Haven group that I work with every 6 months. I get a start of a new group, and what I do in that 6 month, the very first week is what's your self-care plan? What's getting in the way that you're not implementing it? Spend a lot of time, a whole month, talking about the self-care plan because it is your armor of protection against the inevitable life. Life is lifing always for all of us. So
Yeah.
how you deal with that is so important.
I think that's really heavy, and
Yeah.
I think yeah, I'm really surprised by how many of us haven't learned a self-care plan.
Yes.
I wonder if some of that it just comes with whatever role in society that we claim or that someone put up on us, right? For example, for a lot of mothers, I don't think that self-care is sort of factored into the job of being a mom, right? Like that mom's supposed to just disconnect, detach, and take care of mom, the spa, whatever it is that she needs to do, because your job is to be a mom. And then you look at fathers too, right? Like, your fathers provide, protect, all this other stuff, but there's nowhere in the job description that says, oh, you got to take some time just for you. And I think that just that alone goes a very long way because I remember you taught me something that was really interesting about how just literally that no matter what's going on around you, if you can follow certain techniques, you can get the stress out of your body or something like that. I think you said something like that. You can correct me. You said something like that stress doesn't exist in an unstressed body or something. Can you please talk about that so I don't say it wrong?
Yeah, and that's thank you for asking that question because that's the second month. We talk about mindfulness. Month number two is mindfulness. And as long as you're in a relaxed body, you can't have stress. Stress and a relaxed body can't exist together. They're polar opposites. So when you're in a relaxed body, There is no stress happening. You may have stressors. Stressors and stress are two separate things. The body can only handle but so much stress on it, or it breaks mentally, physically, right? But if you stay in a mindful place and you incorporate that as an additional piece to your self-care plan, that mindfulness piece makes it so that you never experience stress again.
Mm.
It's in your mind.
Wow. I think that's
Mhm.
heavy. And it's funny, a lot of people are asking about the Healing Haven. And I know you only have 15 spots because
Yeah.
you want to keep the group size very small. So if you are interested in the Healing Haven and you want to get an invitation to join, pull out your phone, text the word love to the number 87948, and Dr. Alicia can send you a link to the Healing Haven if you'd like to join for the next cohort. So
Yeah,
just to
it's a closed group. So I'm only opening so many. I know I have 15 spots, but there's some of them that are already taken. So I
oh,
only have so much. Listen, y'all, I have a full-time job. So I can only take but so much people. It's my self-care plan to just only take as many clients as I can bear because the work is meaningful to me and I don't want to half-ass do it. Like it's a
Mm,
commitment to myself. So the group is small. I only have so many spots open. There are people who are already committed because I can't carry existing people with me. And so I'm only opening it up to new people, so many spots to new people. And it starts in June. June is when my new cycle begins. It's a 6-month commitment of a closed group. So I open up my group, and after a while, it shuts down, and I'm not taking anybody else for that cycle. But it's a 6-month cycle where we go through all of the different things that you have to deal with your trauma. It is a therapeutic group. Plus, you meet with me one on one because I have to make sure that everybody's together and on board. But it's a commitment because there you get assignments, there's things that you work on that doesn't benefit nobody but yourself.
mm,
And that's the thing. The issue with with self-care plans for many people is that if you grew up with developmental trauma, you're already taught that you're not worthy enough to take care of yourself, to put yourself first. One of the things that it is a demarcation between people who have experienced painful memories growing up that has been unprocessed is that you don't value yourself. You put everybody ahead of yourself. You're taught this because children should never have to worry about an adult, should never have to be concerned with adults and what's happening with adults. Children should never have to be worried about how to take care of themselves. The only thing children need to worry about is developmentally all of the things happening with them. They just worry about school and developing. They should never have to worry about adult things. You should put children in adult situations where they need to protect their children or protect their mother or pay the bills in the house. You shouldn't put that on children. That is abusive and it can leave an impact on them. So when they get older, they're going to be really stressed out because they're not going to know that they are valued enough to put themselves in a position where they take care of themselves. So this is what we have, and this is the remnants of oppression, developmental oppression. We got historical oppression as Black people. And this is the remnants of this. So these are the things that we deconstruct and tangle. We talk about boundaries. We talk about communicating your feelings. How could you communicate your feelings in a relationship as an adult when you were never encouraged, even asked? Children should be seen and not heard. That is the most abusive thing that you could do to a child is to tell them those things. Because if your thoughts and feelings don't matter, then you don't matter. And you grow up and you're stressed out about finances. You're stressed out about relationships. You don't understand what's important and what's not. So those are the things that we tackle. We
mm.
also tackle forgiveness and all the other things and positive mindset and all of those things we talk about for 6 months.
Wow. Well, that's really interesting when you talk about putting yourself first, because that's the whole premise of B1, Black
Mhm.
First, right?
Not only, you don't put yourself only, you have to put yourself first.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the whole premise of B1 is Black First, which is built on the
Mhm.
necessity of that was built around the idea that we were never trained to put even our community first, right? That we were sort of trained to say, well, you could be black after you go to work. Right? You could be black after you finish giving your money away and after you finish paying the landlord and taking care of everybody else and building wealth for other people. And then whatever's left, you can do that for yourself. And so, if anybody wants that, like a financial translation of this, so one interpretation that I have of as I'm listening to my wife is even little basic things like what how you were kind of taught to spend money first and pay bills first and then save what's left. Actually, the appropriate way to approach that would be to save first. Save yourself
So
first
first.
and then start paying the bills and spending money, right? Just put that, just shift the priorities because I can tell you if you get evicted, that car dealer is not going to come and pay your rent. That the people that you were spending money on, or the Forever 21 is not going to come help you pay the bills, or wherever you were Target, wherever you were shopping at. So you got to make sure that you pay yourself first, you save first, you invest first, you build first, and then you still have space to do these other things. But priorities are everything. I mean, I could do an hour-long conversation about how priorities shifts everything. How literally bad priorities can ruin it, can literally have you spinning your wheels, working your butt off, draining yourself. I mean, I kid you not. There's a book I had our whole team read called Traction, and in this book Traction, they taught something that I was actually literally reciting to somebody. I had a friend who who works really really hard, and he doesn't understand why all the hard work he's doing is not turning into money. And I said, I think it might be priorities. And I told him about a part of the book Traction. I said, if you think about a glass, and if you fill this glass up, and let's say you got, in one hand, you got rocks. Rocks are the important things in your life, the big priorities in building wealth, staying healthy, having a good relationship, whatever it is. And then you got sand, which is all the little stuff. There's so much sand out here. There's so many little insignificant things that distract us, little petty arguments with people, getting on the phone with people you don't even want to talk to, scrolling through social media, just little things that you're doing all day long that don't add up to anything, but they take a lot of time, right? And he said, so if you fill your glass halfway up with sand, you're only going to have room for one rock maybe at the end if you're lucky. But what they said is you put the rocks in first. You follow me? Does that make sense? You put the rocks in first. You say, these are my priorities. This is the thing I'm going to do first, no matter what. This is the thing that's going to happen no matter what. Everything else must fit in the middle of this. Right? So you put the rocks in first, and then you pour the sand over top of the rocks. Do you understand? Do you follow what I'm saying here? Right? Because if you don't, then the sand is going to take occupy your life. You're going to be exhausted. Your schedule going to be full. You're going to be moving. And then you'll look back over the last 5 years and literally won't be able to think of anything significant that you accomplished. You won't be able to see where you have more wealth. You won't see where your business grew. You won't see where you lost weight. You won't see where your relationships got stronger. Nothing major will have happened because you're eaten up by all these little tasks that just eat away at you like little mosquito bites. So the book is called Traction, by the way, and but the idea is really simple. Take care of yourself first. And by taking care of yourself, I mean, think about what matters for you. What's important for you? Pick your rocks. Everything can't be a rock. You ain't got enough rocks. I got probably three, four rocks in my life. That's it. And I take care of the rocks before I get to the sand. So sometimes I'm like, I don't have any time for this at all. Like because the rocks are taking up all the space. That's how you make progress. So I'm done talking. Just in as a FYI, a couple things. One, the Healing Haven, if you want to be a part of it, I know a lot of you were asking about Alicia's healing. It's really good stuff. So if you text the word love to 87948, you'll get information from her. Also her website, if you want to make an appointment with her, and she does see some clients on a limited basis, go to coachingwithdralicia.com. That's coachingwithdralicia.com. Somebody type that in the chat, please. Coachingwithdralicia.com. Also, the other thing too is in terms of the financial stuff, Prime members, those of you that are in here, we're gonna have a Prime meeting on Monday, And Prime, in case you don't know, is where we talk about ways to sell stock options to make income. And making money is a big priority for a lot of us. And I know the market's been very volatile. So on Monday, we're going to address that. And so you should have gotten a link to join on Monday. And if you have an interest in learning more about stock options, you could text the word options to 87948, and I'll send you an invitation to do a trial in Prime to see if you like it. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. And it was great to see you. And thank you very much, Alicia, for coming in today. It's always fun to, it's really cool. You know, I'm gonna tell you, see, some of y'all fellas out here, y'all just go chasing women because of what they look like and all that stuff. First of all, I think my wife is gorgeous. She's the most beautiful woman I ever met.
Thank
I literally
you.
saw her across a crowded room and I was stunned. I never forgot. I wrote about it in my journal. But you can get the beauty and the brains, right? So you get the brain and then the work ethic, the beauty, the brains, and the work ethic. I mean, come on now. So you can't go wrong with that. So me and my wife, not only do we love each other, but we work together. And I think that that just kind of creates like a really meaningful journey. So I encourage people to find others in your life that maybe you could be working with and maybe stimulate that. Or if you do bring people in your life, look beyond the superficial. Don't just not just the silly stuff. Dig into the real stuff. That's what's going to make your life into something meaningful. So God bless you, everybody. It was great to see you. We'll be back tomorrow morning. If you're not on the text list for this class, just text the word morning to the number 87948, and I will send you an invitation. And I hope that this was worthwhile and a worthy use of your time. So I'll see you all tomorrow, and take care, everybody. And thank you, babe. Appreciate it. All right.
Bye.
Bye bye, y'all. Bye.